Scientific evidence and biblical reports about Noah flood. Scientifically, there is a planet which is called Earth which people lived when the flood happened. There is enough water to flood the Earth. There are plenty of water on the Earth as ocean, river, ice, moisture in the atmosphere. Scientists newly discovered that there are about 3 times more fresh water under the Earth crust or under the oceans, which estimate to be about 3 times of all the oceans on the planet's surface, and the water is somewhat fresh. Type water under the oceans in your browser. There were enough trees to build the ark. There was technology to build the ark in the Bronze Age, when we consider pyramid and wooden boat which could carry stones weight many tons. All the continents once was one. Land animals could travel from one continent to another. All the mountains on Earth were lower 6,000 years ago as mountains growing continually. Scientific evidence has proven that water takes a spherical form when in zero gravity. Type water in zero gravity, which means all the oceans can be placed around the planet Earth as a water bubble, as written 2 Peter 3:5, which fall as rain in Noah's flood. Big brown bats have spent 64 to 66 days in hibernation in the wild, while in captivity lasted 344 days. 10,000 years after Noah flood, animals would be more adaptable to present-day condition that reduce their hibernation period. When animals are in hibernation, they could be packed like sardine. The ark could carry a 100-fold more cargo or animals. Normally bears enter their dens for hibernation. They generally begin hibernating in September or October and emerge 8 months later or over 240 days. When all animals at once in hibernation, waste, food, water, and cannibalism is not a problem. Scientifically, the Earth could be in a large water bubble, as reported by the Bible 2 Peter 3:5. Type water in zero gravity in your browser and see the form water takes in zero gravity where communication satellite orbit. The Bible reports. Scientifically, there is a Mount Ararat. Animals' instinct were modified and sent into the ark, not carry into the ark, which mean God cause animals to hibernate just as easily, which would make more sense. Genesis 7 verse 14, they and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. Verse 15, and they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2, of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Scientifically, animals can hibernate for a long period of time without food or water, waste, and cannibalism. It took about 100 years to build the ark. During this time the wood was dried out, so the ark was featherweight to carry more load. After 47 days Noah sent out a dove, and it returned with a freshly leaf, which meant trees started to spurt after 47 days which were under water. The Bible Genesis 7 verse 24, the earth in Noah flood was covered for 150 days, not 366 days. The next 300 days in the ark the surrounded must be green again with enough food for all. The appearance of the rainbow mean the water that was above the mountains as a bubble was removed and the strong sunlight reached the lower atmosphere. The Bible report at the beginning of earth making the entire planet's surface was covered with deep water. Genesis 1, verse 2, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Verse 6 and 7. Then God said, let there be an atmosphere in the middle of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Water above and water on the earth's surface. Verse 7, thus God made the atmosphere, and divided the waters which were under the atmosphere from the waters which were above the atmosphere, and it was so. Verse 8, and God called the atmosphere heaven. The Bible report at 2 Peter 2 verse 5 and verse 6, for this they willfully forget that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of water and in the middle of water. 6, by which the world that then existed perished, being flooded with water. Which tells us that the earth was in the center of water, a space between the water that was above and water on the planet's surface. The Bible report that this bubble of water burst and flooded the earth at Genesis 7:11 in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month. On that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. Verse 12, and the rain were on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. What was the result? The Bible reports Psalms 104, Verses 5 to 9 You covered it with the deep as with a garment, the waters stood above the mountains. Verse 7 At your rebuke they fled, at the voice of your thunder they hastened away. Verse 8 They went up over the mountains, they went down into the valleys, to the place which you founded for them. Verse 9 You have set a boundary that they may not pass over, that they may not return to cover the earth. Open for comments. Share. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. CHTTP